How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, "Happy Friday!" Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to the Jello Jiggling podcast. I'm your host, Brian Ward, and we have Lakers trade rumors. What a surprise. It's been November, a week before Thanksgiving, and Lakers are involved in trade rumors. Not a shocker. It seems like no matter how good they're playing, no matter what's going on, there's always trade rumors. It's just the way it happens with the Lakers. And this season's no different. And I wouldn't say that it's a bad thing per se, because I do believe that they need more players. They need depth. Depth is the big problem right now. When this team is locked in as currently constructed, they're pretty good. They're not bad. I believe the record is 9-4 coming into tonight's game against the Utah Jazz, which should be an easy win. Let's see, 9-4 against a 3-10 Jazz team that's clearly probably tanking for Cooper Flag. What does make this game interesting? Probably the only real interesting part of this game is Walker Kessler. He's a potential target, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. What came out today was Shams Charania of ESPN went on the Pat McAfee show, which seems like he's going to probably be a regular on. And he said that the Lakers are still actively looking for a big man to add to their lineup. You know, they went out and got Christian Koloko before the season. He had to get cleared by the NBA, which took longer than anybody expected, but he eventually was cleared. Christian Wood is on the mend. I think it was last week or potentially the week before. JJ Redick gave an update saying that he's going to be reevaluated in a month. So who knows when the hell he's coming back? And he's not a traditional big, you'd say. But I mean, he helps the front court and he can spread the floor because he can shoot. Jared Vanderbilt, more of a 3, potentially a 2, maybe even a 4. Who knows when he's coming back to. We've gotten less updates about him. So that's way up in the air, which sucks, obviously. You got 2 guys who could potentially be, I don't know if a game changer might be a bit strong, but definitely helps this team in the depth department. But it's clearly they're not waiting around. They think they've got a good enough team to compete in the West this season, and they might be right. They could be right. They're currently, I believe, in 3rd place in the West. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. With the best win streak in the West, best win streak in the league is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They won 15 straight, and then the Orlando Magic won 6. Ironically, that's who the Lakers are going to play after Utah. Orlando's in 3rd place. That'll be a good kind of measuring stick game. They don't have Paolo Banchero, who's their guy. They're their number 1 dude, but it doesn't matter. They're kicking ass. They won 6 out of the last 4 games, or 6 out of the last 10. Sorry, 6 straight. So they hit a rough patch, and they seem to be figuring things out. And they're like a defensive-minded team. I think teams that kind of focus on that side of the basketball floor can and excel can get through these rough patches, right? And clearly they are. What's their point differential? So they're holding teams to 102 per game, which is the best in the Eastern Conference by far. And it looks like it might be the best in the league. Yeah, it's the best in the league. It's even better than OKC, who's holding teams to 103.5. So that just tells you right there, the Lakers are in for tough challenge there. But so the full quote from Shams here is they have said for a while now, and I've reported this already, they are looking actively for a big man to add to the lineup. They have assets to play with. I'm not quite sure what he's talking about unless it's the 2 draft picks in 27, 29. They have contracts to play with that nobody seems to want. There are a few names out there. I don't think they have fully targeted a name yet, which I find interesting. But there's 3 names I think that have come up more often than not. And I think all 3 could help this team for sure. One is Jonas Valancuinas, who's been mentioned going all the way back to last summer when he chose to sign with the Washington Wizards for whatever reason. And I think he's coming off the bench, but he's still putting up numbers. He's just coming off the bench. Brook Lopez, which I think his name kind of gained a little steam with Milwaukee just being awful to start the season. But they've started to turn things around somewhat. I believe they've got a little bit of a win streak going. No, they just won 1 game last night, or was it recently? And they've won 4 out of their last 10. So obviously not great, but they're slowly moving up. It's Philly that's the real dumpster fire right now. They're 2-11, lost 9 of their last 10 games. I mean, they're neck and neck with the Wizards. That shows you how bad they are. And then there's Utah, who's sitting at the bottom of the West at 3-10. They've lost 7 of their last 10, 2 straight. So this should be. I mean, it's the same as last game. It's a trap game, right? They're going to go in thinking they're going to kill these guys, and for whatever reason, these guys, they pump themselves up to play the Lakers and make it a game. But hopefully this is a tune-up game. This is like, Lakers just destroying them. Big game from AD, LeBron. Hopefully we see another connect explosion. He went off for a career-high 27 last game, 27 and 7 boards. Just absolute stud. I think JJ's just fallen in love with this kid, and so am I. I love watching him. He's the one guy I like watching. I mean, I love watching AD playing, and LeBron has his moments still. And Reeves, I'm a fan of Reeves, but this Connect kid, he just seems special to me. He seems like he's going to be a guy that's going to be around for a while in LA, and they know it. And I think he put people on notice this past week with some solid performances. Hopefully he follows it up with another big one. And hopefully, that the Lakers can rest AD and LeBron for the majority of the game tonight and let Connect cook. Just see what he can do, being the focal point of the offense, like say, in the second half or the fourth quarter or whatever. Don't jeopardize his health, obviously, but just see what he can do a little bit more. Just get him more reps. I think this guy's going to benefit more and more by more playing time. But in terms of the trades, they need help in the paint. I mean, it's AD and Koloko right now, and Koloko gets pushed around by these bruising bigs that the Lakers would want. I think the home run would be Walker Kessler. He's still relatively young. I think he's 24, but the other guys are kind of ancient in comparison. Let me just check Kessler's age. I'm going to check this recently. I'm pretty sure he's 23, so he's even younger. You bring in a guy like that who can develop alongside AD. He'll take, shoulder the load in the front court. I mean, that is a big time home run. You just have to hope, he can play at the same level with the Lakers. He's averaging 9.2 points, 10.7 rebounds, and shooting 68.6% from the floor. Not bad. I mean, it's not, eye-popping, oh my God, this guy's amazing, he's going to be a game changer. I think he will be a game changer if he comes to the LA. Can potentially average a double-double. That's what you need from a guy that plays alongside AD, because Jaxson Hayes is not the answer. Koloko is not the answer. Even when Wood gets back, he's not the answer. So you need another consistent guy, Max, every single time. Can't just go a half hour, can I, bud? Oh, man, I love him, but sometimes. Anyway, where was I at? Screwed me all up, Max. So we got Valancuinas, Brook Lopez, Walker Kessler. The only problem with Kessler is he's going to come at a price. They will probably have to sacrifice one or both of those first-round picks. If the Lakers brass is confident enough that this team can compete, maybe they do that. Maybe they pull the trigger, and maybe they figure out a way to convince Danny Ainge to make this move, and potentially maybe even get Colin Sexton with him too. That's kind of been the package that's been talked about. Nobody seems to want D'Angelo Russell. I think a report just came out that they're kind of changing their mind on it. I'm like, yeah, right, dude. Give me a break. Like he's been rumored to be on the block for a long time now, and I think it was Jovan Buha of The Athletic said that once he opted into his contract this summer, they immediately started working the phones to get rid of him. So I don't think that's changed. If they have to make a move, he's the one guy going to go, right? He's got the money to help with the salary. He's got $18 million expiring. You kind of have to move him because he's obviously not that kind of guy that you kind of want to sign to another deal because he's just kind of he's hit his ceiling. You know what he is. You know what he's not. He's good. He's hot and cold. It's time. It's time to move on, especially if you have a need in another place, another area, right? And if you can get Sexton on top of that, awesome. So if I had my choice, and if I had to tier this going 1 to 3, I'd say Kessler is a home run, number one. He should be your number one target, and then Valancuinas, and then Brook Lopez. Because I think Brook Lopez is kind of washed. I think he had a big day the other day, but I think he's averaging like 6 points or something. It's just not good. And Valancuinas has been solid, but Valancuinas and Brook Lopez would be short-term kind of fixed guys. They're both in their, close to mid-30s. And, the big guys like that don't last like, LeBron James. They're not going to hang around for very long. But Kessler is a guy you can stick around. You can keep him with AD for the next 5 years, potentially, So I say go for that. And like I said, Jaxson Hayes, Koloko, they're not enough. Those guys you bring on off the bench. If they're playing more than, bench minutes, 15, 20 minutes a game, you got a problem. Christian Wood, like I said, who knows? Even when he gets back, you don't know what you're going to get from him. You don't know if that knee's going to flare up again. The reason why he's going to get reevaluated in a month is because the rehab wasn't going well. There was a setback or something. They never really give you, explicit details on that stuff because they don't want you to know everything, and that's understandable. It's a competitive sport. But if I'm going after somebody, and there could be other names that come up. I think heard somebody mention just throwing it out there. Chicago Bulls center, who I guess has been blowing up this year. I always screw up his name pronouncing it though, so let me find it and read it to screw it up in real time. See, Nikola Vucevic. He is averaging, he's got good numbers. 20.7 points, 9.9 rebounds, 3.0 assists, and he's shooting 59.4% from the floor, and I think he can shoot threes too. Where's he at? 3 points. 48.4% from deep, and he shoots way over his career average, which is 34.5. So this guy's having a career year. But Chicago's weird with the trades. They've been super reluctant to make any deals. Sorry, I just got a notification. Over the last couple of years, and they got guys that they should have traded DeRozan. They traded Caruso before the season began to OKC, which was a game changer for OKC. It's a shame the Lakers couldn't figure out a way to get him back. But this guy's if they are willing to take. I mean, they'd probably ask for 2 first rounders, though, since she's playing so damn well. I think they're too damn picky or something. Something's off with Chicago and their front office. They just don't make smart moves. But they're not really going anywhere. They're still 6-9. 6-9 right now. Where are they at in terms of what they've done lately? Come on. Okay, let's see. Yeah.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, Happy Friday! Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, Happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
I like crap. They won one game recently, but they've lost 7 out of the last 10. So they're not a good team, right? The whole East is garbage outside of 3 teams right now. 4 teams, I guess, because New York has turned it on. Cleveland, undefeated, the only undefeated team in the league. They're doing historic stuff right now. Boston, who everybody knew they'd be this good, 11-3. Orlando, who has turned things completely around after a poor start because, their star player was out and still is, 9-6. And now in New York at 8-6. And they were struggling, and it looks like they turned around. They won 3 straight. And then it just falls off a cliff. It's Atlanta, Miami, Detroit, Indiana, Chicago, Charlotte. And then teams completely out of the playoff picture right now, at least, or the play-in. Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Toronto, Washington, and Philly at the bottom. So the East is just a complete dumpster fire. You would assume the teams that are going to be sellers are going to come from the Eastern Conference because the West, there's just so many damn competitive teams. I mean, and to put it in perspective, I said this on a previous pod before, but it's changed slightly. There's only 4 teams in the East with winning records. Only 4. That's insane. 4 out of 15 teams. That's just crazy. And then you look at the West, and it's complete opposite. You got teams outside of the plan that are 500, like Dallas. There's only 4 teams in the West with losing records. Only 4. So it's completely flipped from one conference to another. There's so much coming. I mean, we all knew this was going to happen coming in, that the West is this good. I mean, if the play-in was to start today, you'd have Sacktown, Clippers, Minnesota, which is kind of underachieved this year, Memphis, who's probably overachieved, Denver, who I thought was bouncing back. I mean, they've won 7 out of the last 10, but I think Jokic has been hurt lately. Phoenix, which has kind of gone down the tubes lately, lost 4 in a row. Houston, who has been impressive, 7 out of their last 10. And then Los Angeles at 9-4, 5 straight. Like I said, the best win streak in the West. And then Golden State and OKC on top. And Golden State, I mean, that came out of nowhere. They've won 8 of the last 10, but they just lost a game. OKC just lost a game. So the Lakers have a chance to move up the ranks. Damn, I didn't know it was that close. Wow. Kind of crazy. I mean, it's way too early to make any kind of assessment on any team right now. We're only, 13 games in for the Lakers. So it'll be 14 tonight. So, you got to wait till 20, 25, maybe even 30 before you really know what you got. But I think the Lakers front office, and they've known for a while, that the area they need to address is the front court. They need another center. They need another bruising big, which I've heard 100 times already. And even Shams admitted, he said he's reported this already, but it's still the same situation. But as the season starts to progress like this and teams start to separate themselves, the ones, that are for real and the ones that are looking at the draft for Cooper Flag, you'll see the buyers and you'll see the sellers. And Lakers are buyers right now. And there's going to be tons of sellers, but they're all in the East. So you're hoping you can snag Valancuinas from Washington, Brook Lopez from Milwaukee, or Vucevic from Chicago, or Utah, getting Kessler. We'll see. I mean, there's options. Put it that way. There's options. There's viable options. They get any of these guys, and I think they're going to be better, depending on what they give up, obviously. But if you're going to sacrifice the future with these draft picks, Kessler's your guy. Don't give up a draft pick for one of these other bigs. Because it's just such a short-term fix. These guys are not going to last long. Lopez is not going to last long. Vucevic, on the other hand, maybe. I don't. How old is he? Hold on. Please hold. Vucevic is 34. So did all the other guys outside of Kessler are pretty seasoned, right? But he's playing top-notch basketball, and he can shoot better than any of the other guys outside of maybe Lopez. But I think Lopez is washed, to be honest. I think that's if you're going to get Lopez, you get him on the cheap, right? Get him on the cheap. But Chicago's probably going to ask for maybe more than the Lakers want to offer, and Utah's probably going to do the same. But I think there's just way more upside with Kessler, especially if you can get Sexton, right? So it's going to be interesting moving forward, but we still got a ton of time until the NBA trade deadline, which is always the first week of February. So you got what? Let's see, from today onwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got about 11 weeks, right? That's a ton of time. Ton of stuff can change in that time. Injuries are going to happen. Teams are going to start to trend downward or trend upward. It's kind of too early to make a trade, but the thing is, the Lakers do know what they need. That's not going to change moving forward. You got a serious lack of depth. They need that help in the front court. They can't. The rebounding is an issue. I think Kessler would be a total home run, and in fact, he could be the move that propels them to title contending status. I know it's too early to say that, but if things keep trending in the direction that they're trending, and Walker comes in and he plays up to his potential, and then you got a guard coming off the bench like Sexton, you got a good team, man. You got a talented team. And you part ways with D'Lo, who's just such a, hot and cold Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type. I'm all for it. Make the move. Sacrifice a little bit of the future, because you got one swing at this. This is it. This is the year. And if you go into another season with the same damn situation and say they end with the same results this year, first round knockout or second round or whatever, it's just going to be the same crap. You got to make some moves. So the good thing is the Lakers have options. That's the good thing. So we'll see where that goes. And I'm kind of excited to see where it goes, especially if they keep winning games. But so we got tonight's game, Utah. And then I said this before, the schedule's going to get a little rough heading into Thanksgiving week. I'm going to break it down just a little bit here, just so you get a sense. You got Utah tonight, and then Thursday things start to get rough. You got Orlando in LA, and then you got the big game against Denver. I don't know what Nikola Jokic's status is going to be. Obviously, that really tilts the scales if he doesn't play in the Lakers' direction. So you get Denver on Saturday. That'll be the big game. I really think you're going to see. Well, I think Orlando's going to be a big game too, but just Denver with the history with the last couple of years and stuff. And then you got at Phoenix next Tuesday, and then at San Antonio right before the day before Thanksgiving, and then after Thanksgiving you got OKC, and that's another huge game. So it's going to be a rough stretch after tonight. So that's why I think it's important to have a tune-up game tonight and just ball out and just see where it goes, right? Get these guys as confident as they can be because they're going to have a tough game against Orlando on Thursday, tough on Saturday, tough on Tuesday, maybe a little lax against San Antonio in San Antonio again, and then tough OKC. So, and then the schedule on the way to Christmas Day's showdown against Golden State, which will be a really tough game if Golden State keeps trending in that direction. You got a few tough matchups there, a couple back-to-backs or back-to-back against Sacramento. In Sacramento, you got Minnesota, you got Miami. I mean, these are kind of middle of the pack teams at the moment, but they're talented. It means they're capable of beating the Lakers. They are. So we'll see. But tune in tonight. Get to see maybe a potential Walker Kessler, audition, the little Sexton audition, and maybe you'll be rooting for that trade. Maybe we'll all be rooting for that trade after tonight's game. But until next time, I will see you guys later.